Denver, buckle up because we are less than 48 hours away from the Broncos taking the field at Empower Field at Mile High against the Green Bay Packers. And before that ball is even snapped, there are three massive rumors swirling around this roster that every single Broncos fan needs to hear right now. We are talking about a starting wide receiver on the verge of losing his spot. We are talking about a former high draft pick who might be closer to getting cut than anyone wants to admit. And we are talking about a rookie who is quietly outplaying veterans and forcing his way into the conversation. This is Broncos news today, and we are breaking down every single one of these storylines, so stick around because this is the kind of camp report that changes how you see this entire roster heading into the regular season. Before we dive into the chaos, I need 30 seconds of your time. This channel is on a mission to hit 1,000 subscribers, and honestly, we are closer than you think. If you have not subscribed yet, please do it right now. It costs nothing, it takes 2 seconds, and it is the single biggest way you can support this channel and help us keep delivering this kind of in-depth, no-nonsense Broncos coverage every single day. Okay, let's get into the rumors. Rumor number one, and this is the one that is going to ruffle some feathers. Who is the odd man out in that stacked Broncos wide receiver room? The answer, as things stand right now, appears to be Troy Franklin. Now hold on before you grab your torches and pitchforks. Let's be crystal clear about what is and is not being said here. Nobody is saying the Broncos are about to trade Troy Franklin. Nobody is saying he is getting cut. Nobody is saying he is suddenly a bad football player who is going to have a disastrous season. None of that. What we are saying is that on the practice field, Troy Franklin has been running with the second team offense, even on days when Marvin Mims has been out of the mix. The first team wide receiver rotation has been Courtland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, and Pat Bryant. Troy Franklin squarely with the twos. And look, this is not some random hot take pulled out of thin air. This has been a consistent read for weeks now. Some fans are going to point out that just last week there was plenty of criticism flying around about Courtland Sutton, and now the tune has changed completely on him. That is a fair point, and credit where credit is due. That particular read was wrong, and it deserves to be owned publicly. Courtland Sutton has looked motivated, fired up, and fully locked in on chasing down another 1,000-yard receiving season. But the read on Troy Franklin has been consistent from the very beginning of camp. When you add a player of Jalen Waddle's caliber into a wide receiver room, somebody has to take a step back. That is not an opinion. That is basic roster math. You cannot wave a magic wand and give every single receiver in the room 1,000 yards or 700 yards. The math simply does not work that way, and somebody has to absorb the target reduction. Now, in fairness to Troy Franklin, in the actual preseason game against the Atlanta Falcons, he did not look bad at all. He played 17 snaps, was targeted twice, and hauled in a really nice 23-yard reception off a beautiful play-action fake from Jarrett Stidham. It was not a performance that wowed anyone watching, but it was not a performance that raised any red flags either. He looked fine, competent, solid, just not spectacular, and honestly, that middle ground evaluation might be the most accurate one to give him right now. Not wowed, not disappointed. Somewhere in between. Here is the key concept to understand about what is happening with Troy Franklin, and it applies to plenty of situations across the NFL, not just in Denver. Statistical regression can absolutely happen to a player even when that player is not actually getting worse at football. Troy Franklin is not becoming a lesser wide receiver overnight. What is happening is that the room around him got significantly better, and Jalen Waddle, by nearly every account coming out of Broncos camp, is currently the best receiver on this entire offense. When you add a player of that caliber, someone else's role naturally shrinks, and right now, all signs point to that someone being Troy Franklin. Combine that with the fact that Pat Bryant has reportedly had the best training camp of any player on the entire roster, and it becomes even clearer why the numbers might simply not be there for Troy this season the way they were originally projected. It has nothing to do with his talent level. It has everything to do with the sheer amount of talent now surrounding him. Rumor number two, and this one might be the most surprising storyline of the entire camp, is Drew Sanders actually a lock to make this 53-man roster? The growing belief right now is no, and if anything, his path onto this team appears to be getting narrower by the day. Let's rewind for a second. Against the Falcons, Drew Sanders had a legitimately great moment, recording a sack that had the entire sideline fired up, High fives all around. Everybody celebrating number 41 getting home on the quarterback. It was a genuinely exciting flash of what he can do. But since then, 3 straight days without practice, 0 reps, no pads, and this is where the concern starts creeping in because there is a real difference between a planned veteran rest day and what appears to be happening here. Given Drew Sanders' extensive injury history throughout his career, the growing belief is that something is being managed or hidden, and it simply is not allowing him to get onto the practice field. Multiple other Broncos content creators covering camp in person have arrived at a similar conclusion, essentially suggesting that the entire Drew Sanders experiment in Denver may be nearing its end. And when you step back and look at the bigger picture, that conclusion starts to make a lot of sense. You cannot make a 53-man roster if you cannot consistently stay on the practice field. That is just the reality of pro football. Now, to be fair to Drew Sanders, his tape from the Falcons game was not bad at all. He recorded the only tackle for Denver in that specific stat, posted a respectable pass rush grade of 63.4, and played a fairly significant snap count. The flashes are real, but it is not just about the flashes. It is about the sheer depth Denver has built at the linebacker position around him. Jonah Ellis has been drawing rave reviews all throughout camp. Q Robinson has been doing the same. Damari Tillman has shown real promise. Jonathan Cooper's snap share remains a bit of an open question mark. That further clouds the picture. On the inside, Justin Strnad and Alex Singleton look like locks to make this roster. Reed Murdoch has settled in nicely as that classic physical box linebacker, and Torin York has been sent on blitz packages regularly, showing real pressure ability as an interior piece, which happens to be exactly the kind of hybrid role Sean Payton has described wanting Drew Sanders to play, except mostly from the outside. When you already have an inside linebacker flashing real pass rush upside against the run, the roster math for Drew Sanders becomes increasingly difficult. Add it all up, and the growing expectation right now is that Drew Sanders simply does not make this 53-man roster. And that raises an important question for all of you watching. Who do you think is the real name teetering on the roster bubble right now? Not some fifth-string camp body with zero chance of making the team, but a legitimate player who could just as easily make this roster as they could get cut. Drop that name down in the comments section below. That is going to be the pinned comment on this video, and let's see what names Broncos country is most worried about heading into final cuts. All right, before we get into our third and final rumor of the day, I want to pause for just a moment. If you are enjoying this kind of deep camp breakdown, the kind of coverage that actually digs into snap counts, PFF grades, and roster math instead of just surface level headlines, this is exactly the content this channel exists to bring you. We are working hard toward that 1,000 subscriber milestone, and every single person who hits that subscribe button gets us one step closer. So if you've not subscribed yet, now is a perfect time to do it before we move on. Rumor number 3, and this one is all about which rookie is quietly outplaying expectations. There has been plenty of talk already this camp about names like Jonah Coleman, Torin York, and Lloyd Cushenberry, but there is another rookie who deserves a serious amount of credit right now, and that is offensive lineman Quinn Meinerz. His performance against the Falcons was excellent, 50 total snaps played, and only a single pressure allowed. For a rookie in his very first live NFL action, that is an outstanding number. Nobody is claiming he is already a finished, perfect product. He is a rookie, and there will absolutely be growing pains along the way, but he is impressing far more than just the fans watching at home. Coaches, teammates, and media members who have been at every single practice this camp have all taken notice, describing him as consistently stout on the interior, always playing with the lowest pad level and leverage on the field, and possessing genuinely strong disruptive hands at the point of attack. What makes Quinn Meinerz' camp performance even more impressive is his versatility. He has rotated through multiple combinations on that second-team offensive line, lining up alongside veterans like Matt Paradis, Calvin Throckmorton, Reed Rothy, and Frank Crum, and in several of those reps, he has arguably outperformed the veteran directly across from him. That is a massive sign for a rookie this early in his development. And the best part is his positional flexibility. Need him at tackle in a pinch? He can do it. Need him at guard, which is reportedly where the coaching staff ultimately wants him long-term. He is getting heavy reps there. Need him snapping the ball at center. He has taken those reps too. Even veteran offensive line stalwart Mike McGlinchey has publicly praised Quinn Meinerz, calling him awesome, impressive, and someone with a genuinely bright future ahead of him in this league. Put simply, Quinn Miners looks like the long-term heir apparent to replace Ben Powers on this offensive line whenever that transition eventually needs to happen. And to be clear, nobody wants that transition to happen this season. The hope for every single Broncos fan is that all 5 starting offensive linemen stay healthy and available for all 17 games. But anyone who has followed the NFL for more than a season knows the brutal physical reality of what offensive linemen endure over the course of a full year. At some point, Quinn Miners is very likely going to see meaningful snaps this season, whether that comes at center, at guard, or even in an emergency situation at tackle. And when that moment comes, Broncos fans should feel genuinely good about what they have seen from him so far. Excellent hand usage, consistently strong leverage, and real composure holding his own in one-on-one reps against established veterans. It is also worth mentioning another name generating buzz for a very similar reason. Offensive lineman Cage Casey. Sean Payton himself has praised Casey's football intelligence and footwork, suggesting his ideal long-term home is at guard, while noting the staff wants to continue developing him with some center flexibility as well. Payton specifically credited Casey's strong coaching background, noting that it clearly shows up on tape. The larger point here is simple. This Broncos offensive line remains, without question, the best unit in the entire NFL, and it is stacked so deep that players who would be everyday starters on roughly 20 other NFL teams are currently fighting just to be primary backups here in Denver. That is an incredible luxury for any franchise to have heading into a real playoff push. So there you have it. 3 major storylines straight out of the final stretch of Broncos training camp. Troy Franklin not fading as a player, but potentially fading in role simply because the room around him got significantly better. Drew Sanders trending dangerously close to missing the 53-man roster entirely, weighed down by both an ongoing injury cloud and a suddenly crowded, talented linebacker room. And Quinn Miners, a rookie quietly building himself into a legitimate long-term answer on one of the most talented offensive lines in professional football. This is exactly the kind of storyline-driven, detail-packed Broncos coverage this channel is built around, and we're just getting started. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, that tells me you are a real one, a true Broncos fan who wants the full picture, not just the headlines. So do me one last favor, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps push this video out to more Broncos fans who need to see it. Drop your roster bubble prediction down in the comment section below. And if you are not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button today. We are chasing 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you watching right now can help get us there. Turn on notifications too, so you never miss a single camp update, roster rumor, or breaking news story the moment it happens. Thank you all for riding with us through this one. Broncos country, we have got a massive Friday night matchup against the Packers coming up fast, and this channel will be right here covering every single second of it. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next one.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.